All right. It's your boy, Steven from Tapioca, and I am back with another episode of um, Tapping Tuesdays with our sponsor, Tapioca. All right. So we have three subjects that we're going to talk about today. The first subject will be Spotify accuses Apple of not being fair. Second topic will be about 1,000 fans. And then the third topic today will be a clip from an interview that I did earlier this week with Nino Man, straight out of Harlem. A great interview, if you ask me. But let me see. Waiting for my co-host to come on here. All right, here is my co-host.
Yes, sir. Come on, man. You trying to leave me out of the conversation? I'm sitting here waiting.
I wasn't sure. I was like, this person, you're pretty on time. So I wasn't sure if something was wrong or anything like that, because you never
I
know.
finally get on tap in Tuesdays. You trying to leave me out the conversation? I'm here.
I got you. I got you. All right. Now you're here and you're in the viewpoint or whatever. And yeah, everybody can see you. So let's see. So as I was explaining to everybody, first I was explaining to everybody a little bit about myself and why I
Mhm.
do this. I'm not sure if you would like to do the same.
Yeah, of course. I always like to talk about what we do. So, as you can see, the name Big Fee, if you know, you know. But yeah, I am. Oh, you don't need to put that up there. I'm Felicia Palmer. Been rocking with Steve since '94 when we started SOHH, and got some new exciting stuff going on. I think if there's anyone that can say that we've seen it and been there and witnessed it and participated in it and created it and broke the ground, like we the ones. I am she and he is him. So yeah, so like I think that we've got a lot to say about what the next evolution is going to look like, and I think that that's why we are doing what we do right now.
Hmm.
Super excited to do Tap In Tuesdays and really kind of bring forth these new perspectives, kind of more on business chasing as opposed to chasing the news cycle like we used to do. I think that that thing is it's too much people out there having something to say about anything without any authority, So that's kind of like played or whatever. But certainly, I think that there is a lot of room for what we're doing now, which is talking to artists from a perspective of a media publisher, a perspective of an artist, a perspective of someone with expertise in music, media, and technology over the last 30 years. So yeah, we got a lot to say here. So what's the agenda today, Steve?
All right. So our first topic today is going to be Spotify accuses Apple of not being fair.
Uh, as they say, that is the pot calling the kettle black, of course.
Exactly. And I'm going to see if I can add this video to our stage really quickly.
Okay. Yeah, you
Let's-
told me about this, and I was taking a look at this before. Um, Let's see what these guys have to say. They've created this whole lobbying page about how Apple is playing unfair, and it's just like, wow. Did
Right. So,
anybody check this? Did anybody check this against the public relations department to kind of see how people will perceive this? I mean, this is like you guys are like the last ones talking about people being fair.
yes, definitely when you point one finger, three are pointing back at you. Let's click let's click play and see what these guys are talking about.
We love all things audio, and we know you do too. That's why we love that Spotify is available on a number of devices, giving our fans lots of ways to listen. We also know that millions of people love Apple's platform. In fact, so do we. However, we don't love it when Apple comes between you and the things you love to listen to.
Hold up. Put a pause on
Oh,
that. Hold
okay.
on. We gonna just break this down little by little bit. So they said we don't love it that Apple comes between you and the things that you love. Is that what they said? We just
That's
go
what
back
she said.
20 seconds.
That's what she said. Hold on one second.
I don't want to misquote the thing
Matter of fact,
that's
I'm gonna put the closed captions up.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Go back just 10 seconds, will you? Because I just really want to. I don't want to misquote her.
If you were to upgrade to premium in our app
No,
through
forget
the App
that.
Store,
You missed
listen
it.
to.
She said something about.
We don't love it when Apple comes between you and the things you love to listen to.
Okay, there we go.
However, we don't love it when Apple comes between you and the things you
Okay,
love to listen
pause.
to.
okay,
All right. Apple's coming between us, so they're our advocates now. Spotify advocating for music fans and the things that we listen to, which are the artist's music. So Spotify, that literally sits in between the fan and the artist's music, and the artist is talking about Apple coming between the fan and the things that they love to listen to the music. Like,
right.
did anybody say, "Hey guys, we're doing that. Let's just continue to listen to what this thing is saying." Keep going.
Okay,
If you were to upgrade to premium in our app through the App Store, we'd have to give Apple a whopping 30% of your subscription fee.
Hold up. I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay. So here we go again. Like, we literally could put their name in every place they say Apple, because they're literally taxing artists. Artists get paid nothing on the platform, 0.003 cents per
three
stream,
cents. Right,
0.003, less than a penny.
correct.
And in terms of coming between the artist and the fan, there's no way that artists on Spotify have a direct connection with their fan. Spotify literally sits in between the artist and fan. On one hand, they charge the artist uh, to reach their fans through, these new campaigns that they came out with, this new thing with campaigns, and pretty much they're the official marketing channels that Spotify is offering now that artists have to
Correct.
pay for, right? Well, yeah, I want you to show that at some point, not right now, but then the fan has to pay to reach the artist too. You pay 14.99, and God forbid if I don't know if that's the current price, because it's always changing, and I just can't keep up with it. God forbid if you don't have a Spotify account and you're trying to be free, they will let you listen to everything but what you want to listen to. But at the end of the day, there is no connection. An artist can't actually directly connect with their fan without being taxed. They
Right,
have to actually pay a fee.
right. And it's actually a bigger fee. The artists are paying a bigger fee than what Spotify is paying Apple.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, the artist gets paid nothing.
Right,
So, at least Spotify is getting the 70% that's left over
right. So
from
they're
this.
saying
From
like out of when if I had an Apple phone and I spent 14.99 a month, 30% of let's just round it off to 15. 30% of 15. What is that like?
That's one third. That's $5.
Right. So Apple is getting $5.
And Spotify gets 10.
Right. Maybe
Okay.
Spotify should get 3 cents to see how it feels.
0.003 cents.
Right. You're right. 0.003 cents.
Correct. Let's see what else this is this nonsense is here.
Apple knows we can't afford to pay that tax and keep our prices low for our fans.
Hold it. I have to call Cap. Cap. They just
Yeah.
said Apple can't afford to
Apple
pay
knows
that.
that Spotify can't afford to pay the tax.
How?
Do you have that? Do you have that? Yes, sir. What is this? This is Spotify and Apple year over year growth for the last since 2016. It looks like Spotify's the green and
Right.
Apple's the red. It looks like Spotify is making more money than Apple. That looks like it's somewhere around $13 billion.
Right. So it's a big significant difference.
So, like, y'all are crying poor. How?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was straight cap.
Hmm.
I don't know why they even would fix their face to say that, but
And
okay.
how would they know? How would Apple know that they couldn't afford? Like, what would they like? This whoever made this video, you guys, come on, do better. You guys got all that money. Somebody should have looked at this
Yeah.
objectively and said, y'all ain't making no type of sense. This is not even making sense. Go ahead.
So we decided not to use their payment system. But Apple won't let you pay by any other way. Because Apple is both owner of the App Store and Spotify's competitor, they set themselves up to be referee and player in the world of audio streaming. They've been using this power to give themselves an unfair advantage that harms fans like you and companies like us. Apple regularly moves the
So, how much did Spotify make last year?
What was that? I think it's at about 13 billion in revenues. So they're saying that Apple is the referee and the
They made
player.
$3.66 billion as of March 2024.
That's how much they've made already the first quarter.
Yeah. If I'm not
Yeah.
reading this, I might be reading the chart wrong because I
Well,
just pulled it up.
the chart is for last year, for the last several years. I don't know what I just know that it looked like it's about 13 billion, the last number that's up there. The point of the matter is what?
Well, she just said something that was kind of weird. Hold on, let me just bring that back and make sure I heard it right.
like you and companies like us. Apple regularly moves the goalposts and changes the rules of what we can and cannot do. For example, they censor us from Apple regularly moves the harms fans like you and companies like us.
Hold on. Is this Spotify that's talking about moving the goalposts and changing the rules and all of this? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is the same company that no one can figure out how is it that all of these artists are not making any money. There's the opacity, the lack of transparency in terms of the numbers is ridiculous. God knows what they're doing behind the scenes, moving the goalposts. And then they just recently came up with this rule that they're going to only pay you once you've reached 1,000 streams. So it's like
Right.
before you would get paid, but they're basically saying, well, it's only going to be a $3 check anyway, so we're not going to bother cutting you a check for $3. But talking about they control the court, they control the rules, they control the communication, they control the payments. Artists have no control in the Spotify world.
Right. I don't understand it. They said moving the goalpost. I mean, that is what a platform does. I guess it's not fair when it's done to the $3 billion company, but it's okay when it's done to, the artist who's not making anything. What's that? Snoop was making what? He made $40,000 off of Spotify last year.
On 1 billion streams.
Yeah, and they're worried about the goalpost changing. And I guess we're supposed to. I guess and I
feel sorry for them.
I hate to be a pocket watcher, right? Because that's what it comes down to. We're pocket watching, but this is more than a pocket. This is a safe. We're safe watching. You know what I'm saying? Like you're acting like you're losing money.
And even if they are losing money, the bottom line is that you're not some poor, starving company that's being abused by Apple. Last time we looked at that last chart, you are doing better than Apple in terms of revenues. You have a dominant position in terms of the streaming. Artists are, you guys have the dominant streaming platform. Let's talk about other streaming platforms that don't have the position that you guys have, such as what?
Apple Audio Mac,
Audio Mac,
SoundCloud,
SoundCloud, all of these other
Deezer.
platforms, Geezer. So you guys are really sitting here talking about Apple is not playing fair. They're moving the goalposts and they're dominating the market and they're controlling everything. And you guys literally own the entire market share. Nobody else is coming anywhere close to you in terms of market share. In order for
Right.
an artist to reach their consumers to even get their music out there, they have to be on Spotify.
Right.
It's so bad that even though you're not paying them anything, even though they're getting paid nothing, they won't leave Spotify. That's how bad it is because there's no place else that's really giving them an opportunity to be able to get their music out there in any capacity besides, even though they don't succeed at that either, because you can't reach anybody on Spotify anyway. Let's just I don't want to watch their whole video. I think that we're going to go over more of this over the next couple of weeks because the whole idea is that they're suing um, uh, Apple Music, and in the same way that the U.S. government is also uh, saying that Apple is dominating and monopolizing the space. I'm not defending Apple either. Certainly, they absolutely have anti-competitive practices. At the
Hmm.
same time, like Spotify, you get no sympathy from us, sir and ma'am, no sympathy, because what you're doing to the artists and what artists are experiencing as a result of you all creating a system that they are basically being pretty much impoverished. You've created a system where they can't reach their fans. They get no fan data. They get
Right.
no access directly to communicate with their fans. They have no email addresses for their fans to write them. In order to get in front of their fans, they have to go to, black market playlist services that you say don't subscribe to. But then you've now got this new campaign service that you're saying is the way for our artists. What is that? The backstage. What is that thing they
It,
have now? The
it's
artists.
called oh, they logged me out, but it's called Marquee.
Yeah, they have some new marquee campaign services that you can buy to get in front of your fans. So you brought them the fans, you put your music on there. You told your fans to get your music on Spotify, and now they're charging you a premium to get in front of them. And you have to, and they still don't pay you anything in the end. So Spotify, you get no sympathy from me. You get no sympathy from us. We'll keep talking about this over the next few weeks. What other topics do we have?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right. So I think as opposed to, playing the victim, which is what Spotify is doing, there's another little tactic that I've noticed, and that's like so many artists these days are like dead serious about having like millions of followers.
Mhm.
And I was reading, as I was preparing for the show a couple weeks ago, and some of this is it's not new to everybody, but I'm just trying to pull up my notes and such.
This
We're
this
going to talk about
uh-huh.
we're going to talk about 1,000 true fans,
Mm-hmm.
and this was really based on an essay by this guy Kevin Kelly, and he's an investor. He's also an entrepreneur, and
Mm-hmm.
he really talks about how you don't need a million fans to do what to generate money, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just need 1,000 true fans. And he talks about meeting these two criterias. And the first one is having a fan that is willing to spend $100 on you every year. And the second criteria is to have a direct relationship with your artist. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's what we are doing now in 2024. Everybody's talking about it, right? Having a
Mm-hmm.
direct access to your fans and artists. There's so many services that are doing this or whatever because they realize that when you spend money. Okay, well, let's say when you take out these Instagram ads and these Facebook ads, you're spending money to reach these followers. But if those followers are not buying anything from you, then all you're doing is just having a bunch of followers. that aren't really doing anything for you.
Well, at one time in the music industry, people it was this whole idea of making it look like you were big, making it look like you had an audience base. I mean, people were spending money to increase their views, to increase their followers and subscribers.
Right,
And that whole idea, this smoke and mirrors, that I think that's just, if I were to describe the music industry forever, it's always been about smoke and mirrors. It's all about creating an appearance of something to make it more appealing to the masses, to make the fans more inclined to be engaged and to spend money, but also to kind of generate a new crop of artists, a new crop of people to get into the system that could be, buying into this dream of being making all this money. This has been going on forever. It is the basis of what the music industry is built on. This idea of celebrity and popularity, and just so much reach. So meanwhile,
right,
people have been inflating their reach. A lot of it is through bots and through other mechanisms that are not real. But even if you do have 10 million followers, how many of those followers are actually going to translate into people who are going to make an investment in you, who are
right,
going to spend money on you? Especially when you talk about these days where people, a few years back, you could actually make money from having people look at your content, right? For
right,
instance, with SOHH, we come from the advertising industry as our main revenue source. So when people come to read articles on SOHH, we made money, and we make money from the ads that are served in front of them. So it did at one point make sense to have a lot of people coming, even if they weren't buying anything. As a matter of fact, we didn't care if anybody bought anything, because we were monetizing your eyeballs.
right,
We were monetizing your eyeballs. But now eyeballs are getting paid pennies. Your eyeballs no longer matter as much because everybody's got access to your eyeballs, right?
right,
So they don't pay as much for your eyeballs anymore. But so it's created this situation where it's like, okay, well, who exactly is going to buy my product? Like, it really comes down to really what it's all about anyway. It's about a transaction. It's about value for value. You give me something and I'm going to give you something in return. And that's what it's really all about. So this idea of monetizing your attention, is really fallen to the wayside. And we're back to you sell me a product and I buy it and I get value out of what you sold me.
correct. I think that there's a saying, work hard, work smarter, not harder. And I think artists are going to have to really focus more on what can I do with these 1,000 fans? How can I retain them for a year or 2 years or 3 years? I mean, there are some artists that they say that the average fan spends about $350 on an artist over the course of a year. So even
Those
though
are the
this
super
article,
fans, the real fans, not the followers, the fans.
right? So you have
So what's that look
followers,
like? That's like, okay, go ahead.
you have your followers, you have your fans, and then you have your super fans. And your super fans are the ones, they travel to see you. They buy pretty much everything that you put out. So like if you put out a CD, they'll buy it. If you put out a vinyl, they'll buy it. And you can kind of see the super fans and people that like Beyonce, people that like Scissor, people that like Kendrick Lamar, people that used to like Drake. But um, those are the people that really, really support you in your artistry. But they're to reach a million people, having a million people follow you doesn't mean anything. I mean, if you think about it, you got to spend money in order to get access your followers on social media, right? It's not like that's not like when you make a post, your post goes to every single one of your fans, no, every single one of your followers. Your post only goes to a small percentage of your followers, and if you spend the money then it will open up and reach more of the people that are following you, or the people that might like you because you're in that algorithm.
Yeah, well, that social media thing just brings us to the point. The other point of the matter is just that how technology companies have really just continued, whether that be Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, Google, they've all done a number on real content creators, on
Hmm.
real companies, real people who are producing real product, and they've
Right.
convinced our customers and our fans that they have something to offer, and they've offered them great value in the form of free services, free products. Google products are all free. You use them. And I think they said if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. So they've
Right.
essentially offered a lot of free services that fans have adopted. They made it convenient for you guys to get everything that you need so free and easy. Then they create put themselves in a position where they're the brokers. So now you've taken advantage of their free services. Now you've taken advantage of their offers. And now the person that you really support, you no longer are in direct communication with them because you are now reaching them through the tech company. You can see it
Right.
again. You can see it also in restaurants now. You order directly from DoorDash. You don't order from your restaurant down the street. What you're doing is essentially you've allowed DoorDash to get in between you and your favorite restaurants. And now you have to pay DoorDash to get your order, and your favorite restaurant has to pay DoorDash. DoorDash is just providing a convenience, and they charge a convenience fee, and you have to tip. So it's the same thing that's happened in the music industry with Spotify, with Apple Music. It's the same thing that's happened in the publishing industry, in the media industry with Google and Instagram. All of these major tech companies have really put themselves in a position out of for the sake of convenience and free services of being the broker between the people who are really creating the content, the people who are really contributing value, who are creating the products, and the people who are buying the products. And they're taxing all of us on both sides.
Pretty much. Pretty much getting both ends of the stick.
Hmm. So we have no sympathy for you, Spotify. But back to what you were saying about 1,000 fans. So 1,000 fans, you have 1,000 fans, 1,000 people who are really committed to you. You talk
Right.
directly to them. You have their email addresses. You have a
Right.
direct platform where you release content and music to them. You do
Correct.
not allow other companies to get in between you and them. You are essentially, creating a closed system between you and
Right.
your fans. You create content for them. You don't care whether it's popular or whether other people like it. You're creating content that they want, and they receive that content, and they want that content, and ultimately they're going to buy that content. And that's the way to be successful. And we're seeing a lot of artists doing it. These days,
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of artists have decided to get off the daggone train, the Spotify fake train, and are going direct to their fans. Now they're selling CDs. I was just looking at Megan Thee Stallion. She sent out a release today of she's got a new single coming out called Boa. I don't know what her fascination is with snakes, but she's got a single, and she's releasing that single on a CD,
Okay.
a single CD for $5.49. Now, most people don't have CD players, but I get the idea. She's trying to sell something because Spotify is absolutely not going to pay her $5.49 to listen for that CD single, to have that single.
Right. Well,
Uh,
that definitely was a. I mean, if I can't get $5.49 out of my fan, then I'm in the wrong business.
right.
And I
Well,
think
it's a
you've said
single though,
something.
so it's a single. So I mean, I can understand it's $5. It's not like it's an album or EP. So it's a single, and so you see big artists now deciding. I know that CDs are obsolete, but I have to sell a product. So she's selling her single. She's selling posters. She's selling T-shirts. These are the things that were kind of relegated to independent artists. For years, you never saw big artists selling merch. And now
Well,
there's
you did see the major artists. I mean,
the
Michael
major.
Jackson, Prince, but
Well,
like
yeah, yeah.
it
I
just
mean, you go to their
seems that
concert, and it was part of the, yeah.
right. It seems that the merch is now becoming before the music.
Mm-hmm.
So the music industry really isn't the music industry anymore. It's the merchandise industry featuring music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the music isn't even that good.
Right.
So,
And they're selling everything but music, right? So
correct.
they're working every day. You're seeing them tour every moment. They're at every festival because they're trying to make money because they're not making money from streaming. And you are seeing a lot more releases of merch, but the merch is obsolete. So CD player, nobody has one. They don't have them in cars anymore. I mean, it's a good gesture to have I guess, a token, but to have it to do what with it? To put it on your wall? What are you going to do with the CD? You know. So that's I don't know. We're talking about
Right.
1,000 fans. The point is, we'll talk more about this later, but it's about really focusing on who your base is. Stick to your base, build up your base, stay
Right.
connected to your base. Don't let anybody get in between you and your base. Have your data for your base,
Hmm.
and that's the way to win in
I
2024.
think, I was talking, and I'm going to segue into our last piece, which is with Nino Man. I did an interview with him, and there was a few things that he had talked about that he wished he had known prior to getting signed. And I guess this is one of those things that you wish you had known before getting into the music industry was that, at this point you're getting 0.003 cents per stream. I don't think many people would have, if people had known that, I don't think many people would be artists today,
Yeah,
you know. And I don't think many people would be content producers. I don't know too many people that don't produce content in some shape or form. If you're not producing the content, you're editing the content, or you're content. Somewhere you are content.
right. And they really don't still don't know. I mean, the information is getting out there that it's all smoke and mirrors. That this is it's like a burst, a bubble that's bursting, in the sense that it didn't exist. This it never existed. Bill Stephanie, who is a music veteran, talks about how after Napster, which was the piracy, piracy giant in the 2000s, after Napster, streaming came about, and it really was never a viable revenue stream for artists. And here we are today with the same problem. There is no viable revenue stream in the music
Hmm.
industry for artists to make music besides touring, besides performing, and they want a piece of that too, the record labels. So artists are really in a bad position. And you
Right.
got an interview with Nino Man. Get it started. I mean, we like to interview up and coming artists. That's one of the things that we didn't get to do a lot with SOHH. Unfortunately, for the views, we got caught up in the same thing as everyone else. For the views, we had to only cover the artists that people were going to be attracted to and who were going to get us the hits. But we're excited about the opportunity with Tapioca on Tap In Tuesdays to bring you some artists that are up and coming. Nino Man's been around for a while, so many of you have
Right.
probably already heard of him. So we'll get into the interview. He talks about his new project coming out and what he wish he'd known before that he knows now.
All right. So let's get into it. So, yo, what's up? This is Steve from So.com, and this is a special So.com Tap In Tuesdays with Nino Man.
Yo, what's the vibes, B?
We chilling out here. We chilling, yo, and it's the day before your album comes out, 30 Linux. So my first question is why the title 30 Linux?
Dirty Lennox, because that's the building out that I was raised in. You feel me? Like this where it all started for real, all the hunger. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people like pay attention to like different places in Harlem. So I just really wanted to highlight my building coming up, downtown, and then I can motivate the people that's in that building or in that area to get the same grind going on, let them know that this could happen to you too. You know what I mean? Like, so I wanted to really show my upbringing and shed that light on my building, 30 Lenox Avenue.
Right now, I do need to just give my sponsor a little shout out or whatever. So, of course, this episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Tapioca, the future of music distribution. If you're an artist doing shows and you're looking to release your music directly to fans, check out Tapioca for a free trial.
We created technology that gives artists the freedom to release their music exclusively to their fans and keep 100% of the sales revenue with a simple tap. Independent artists take 100% of the risk and deserve 100% of the revenue. Streaming service payouts are pennies. Touring is taxing, and merch drops are a hit or miss. Tap into the next innovation in music distribution. Text more info to @Tapioca Music on Instagram.
All right. And we're back with Nino Man.
You heard?
All right. So prior to once I found out who you were and everything, I was like, all right, yo, like how did I miss this guy? Like, yo, this guy right here is like dope. He's the truth. He's from Harlem. I'm from the Bronx. So, it's kind of like related sort of.
Yeah.
You've been around for like 13 years. You've worked with Fred the God. You've worked with Vado. You've worked with Jadakiss. So now you're on So Raspy Rock Nation. What are 3 things you wish you knew about the industry from then to now? Like, what do you wish you knew earlier?
That's a good question. Like, it's like, I could say the independent lane, like more about that, but it's like that kind of got better as time went. You know what I mean? Well, at least from my perspective, I feel like because there's so much stuff that I learned now, but you couldn't do back then. You know what I mean? Like, so I would say like probably organize the crew a little bit better. Because when we was so, like I said, I was so young doing this shit that I never really like had time to really be like, all right, so this the life we choose, and like it's like niggas was just doing it, like, so I'm outside trapping and doing all this regular ratchet shit, you feel me? Like,
Right.
and we was all rapping at the same time. You know what I mean? So we always made time for that. Yo, oh, we got some shit too. We gonna let y'all hear it. So anybody came in my block rapping, I was always letting them let them know like my presence was felt. You feel me? Like I was like good on my block. Like they loved me on my area. Like I had a name, a street buzz before any of that. So not to go off the question. So it's like I don't. Only thing I would say is that I would have prepared better because it just got to a point in my life when I started getting the name and shit. I was like, oh shit, this is what I chose. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like then I had to like move accordingly. Like I didn't really understood or understand that I was making this my life decision. If that makes sense, because you write a rap, you think you're just gonna get a $1 million deal. All right, let me get this $1 million deal, and I mean move forward, and you know what I mean. But
Right.
it didn't happen like that. It just happened slowly and slowly. Just like now, it's like a snowball effect. You just keep getting bigger and bigger. Pause. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I would just say I would have prepared better when it come to the cruise instead of just freestyling so much, like just doing shit just randomly. You know what I mean?
So it sounds like you're talking about like just getting your team together, like your PR, like your publicist and your manager, getting the
Yeah.
right team together.
Yeah, like the roles for everybody, so everybody know what they doing. So when we got in, like it's no confusion, you know what I mean? Because doing stuff so randomly, it just makes it's people just around for nothing sometimes, and it just so that's what I would take from it. Just what I know now, just moving real militant, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to the music, like just you doing this for sure. You doing this, you doing that, you know what I mean? We just move like that from when we was younger. But we were just like, we all rap. We just gonna do us. And it's like whatever come our way, we just make the best of it, you know what I mean? Like so
Right.
that's one thing that I would really like focus on I would have focused on like just getting everything in order, like knowing it was gonna happen, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
that's like
Right.
too far off, you know what I mean?
And what about shows and stuff like that? Like, would you have done things differently as far as getting shows? Like, because now when you perform, you don't really, you get paid for the show, but like, what about like merch and stuff like that? Any tips on that?
What, back then or now?
Now, like from what you know now to what you could have been doing back then?
Oh yeah, I would have definitely had like merch back then, because everything, it's like when you, I would have learned how to roll out more, like like you see how the project is. I'm doing this interview, I gotta make this appearance, do this show, and you know what I mean. So dropping this video, dropping this song, like everything is like planned out. And it seemed like it's complicated, but when you really just ahead of your game and just organize, it is a little bit easier, but you just gotta just stop and curve everything else. Like this is what's going on. Make sure your team, everybody on the right page and everything just right. You know what I mean? So I would say like I would have definitely had merch back then. I would have definitely being, I mean, I used to have merch though, but back
Okay.
back then I didn't. You know what I mean? Like I would just had it more organized. That's the best way I could put it. Like just more organized instead of just being like, oh, we're gonna do this tomorrow. Oh, come on, let's scramble and make it happen now. You know what I mean? It was a lot of that going on instead of like, yo, this is going on in 3 months. We're gonna pick this date and we're gonna do everything we gotta do to get this rollout going on, get these interviews. We're gonna make sure this show is right. We're gonna make sure this is good. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. I would have just been way more prepared and organized. But for the merch, the shows, I've been doing shows even like when I was on the come up, even paying to even get on the stage and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like so I've
Right.
always been in that bag. Like so, yeah. Like I would have just prepared more.
All
Mhm.
right. And then, like, let me just throw another one out at you. What about contracts? What do you know now about contracts that you wish you knew then?
Entertainment lawyer. you know, you always gotta have a entertainment lawyer unless you just really that smart with it. Like, and I don't even think it's like I don't even want to say smart because a real smart person could still read it and don't really comprehend the right way because it's the way it's written out. It's written so certain lawyers could understand it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how they get their bread and butter. And it's still like that to this day. They could make stuff so much more simpler, you know what I mean? If they could use big words and everything, but it's just the way they just word everything and they just section it off and tell you to look at page three from page one, sector A and shit like that. So it's like, the contracts, I say, I wish I would have caught one of those joints from back then, though. You know what I mean? Because I feel like back then they used to give you this super big budget and everything. But I'm appreciative what I got. Don't get it fucked up. They definitely treat me good. Shout out to EQ, the whole team, and everything. So, you know what I mean? But besides that, yeah, like entertainment lawyer, number one. You gotta have an entertainment lawyer. Don't be shy to pay that bread, especially when you getting the bread back. You know what I mean? Like when you got events and shit. You know what I mean? So I'm paid for itself.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I'm going to wrap this interview and I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to So.com special edition of Tap In Tuesdays. Is there anything that you want to say just to end this out?
I mean, thanks for having me. You know, I appreciate y'all. I'm a nigga from the bottom. I work my way up if you know my life story and all that. So if you tapped in, make sure y'all tune in. The project drop May 3rd. You know what I mean? It's called 30 Linux Ave. I give that real, uncut, raw feel pause, you know what I mean? So if I'm one of those people you listen to when you've kind of gone through something and you don't feel like expressing yourself, put my shit on and you're gonna pick a certain song that you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't even gotta explain myself. I'm gonna just play this real quick. So I'm your guy, Nino Man. Wow.
All right. Salute.
Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate y'all for having me for real.
All right.
All right, all right, all right. That was dope.
All right.
Nino Man.
Yeah, really, really good brother. Really good brother. I
All
wish
right.
him much success.
Absolutely. He been grinding for a while. So I think he might got some tips. He might know what's going on out there now. And, his album's out. So, catch him on the streets. And in the meantime, we done.
We are done. It's
Another
time for us to
episode.
tap out. See y'all next week.
All right, y'all.